I am Malinda Maynor Lowery, and I am an active, current day activist for American Indian issues. If you are to remember one thing about me after I tell you about myself, remember that I am a Lumbee Indian. See, my parents had moved outside of the Lumbee community before I was born and established lives and careers in Durham, North Carolina. I was raised in Durham, but my father wanted to ensure that I would always feel closely tied to my Lumbee heritage. So he made it out that I be born in Lumberton, at a Robinson County hospital. Whether it was because I was born in Lumberton or not, I have always felt closely tied to my Lumbee heritage, and I felt proud to be Indian. I have curly hair, more fair-toned skin, and do not look like the traditional Indian. I have always been faced with the question, what are you? I discuss this a lot in my newest book that I titled The Lumbee Indians: An American Struggle. In elementary school, a little girl asked me this very question, what are you? When I told her I was Indian, she did not believe me. I then told her I was born in a teepee, which I obviously was not, but this got her to accept that I was, in fact, an Indian. Me saying I was born in a teepee matched what she had seen in movies and on television. It matched the stereotype that children have been engraved with for centuries. This brought me to one of my main focuses throughout my career. American history is one-sided. It leaves out Indian history and often even tells historical events and situations incorrectly. As an Indian child, I learned one version of history at home and another version in school. When Lumbees think of history in terms of the education they received in school, we often claim that we did not learn our history. We only lived it. This should not be the reality, and because of this, I have centered my career around American Indians. You may think it is ironic how I am using the historically inaccurate label Indian when referring to myself and my people. But I prefer Indian over the other names, such as Native American or Indigenous, because this is the way me and my people refer to one another. I attended Stanford University, earning my master's in documentary film. I have produced films such as Real Indian in 1996 and Sounds of Faith in 1997. Both premiered at the Sundance Film Festival. I later went on to attend UNC Chapel Hill, where I earned my PhD in history. At UNC Chapel Hill, I became a professor of history and director of the Center for the Study of the American South. I went on to publish my first book in 2010, Lumbee Indians in the Jim Crow South. This book won many awards, such as the Best First Book of 2010 in Native American and Indigenous Studies. In 2018, I wrote The Lumbee Indians: An American Struggle. In this book, I lay out Lumbee history from the 18th century to present day and share lots of rich insight to the Lumbee culture and way of life. So far, I have written numerous works concerning American Indian identity, American Indians in school, and the Lumbee Indian struggle for federal recognition. I am the founder of a nonprofit arts organization that is headquartered in Robinson County, the Carolina Arts Network, which produces the outdoor drama Strike at the Wind. This is a drama about Lumbee, Henry Barry Lowery, and war, a part of our history that is actually, in fact, in most history books. But it is usually so whitewashed to the point where Lumbee Indians do not completely agree with the way history books choose to teach it and write about it. In response to the one-sided American history I mentioned earlier, I wrote an article titled, Telling Our Stories. I think it is extremely important that we as Indians demand our history to be acknowledged and heard. I see it as a privilege that I get to teach others about American Indian history. I make it the point often in my work and in my teachings that non-Indians know so little about Indian communities and how much we have contributed to this country.